What's up, guys? Buddies and Wicks. My name is Ted, and I'm just doing a live video just because I can. Let's just get into it, right? Let's just get into it. What in the world is going on with Bitcoin? I don't get it. I was watching some Tim Pool earlier, and they're talking about how the Fed has been mass producing the dollar, and that's what's pretty much causing this devaluation of the dollar. And it is definitely causing a devaluation of it, but I mean it's we've seen a pretty steep decline in the dollar, that's for sure. But if you think about it, let's look at Bitcoin really quick. All right, so we got Bitcoin here, right? And I'm looking at the 4 hour of Bitcoin. Remember when Bitcoin had that huge spike? When was it? It was early 2018, right? Was it? Where to, like, it got almost to 20,000. Maybe it was before that. Okay, December 2017. All right. Let's take a look at the dollar here. This might take me a while to get there, but this is why I don't trust the dollar. This is why I don't trust Bitcoin right now, or at least too much as what other people should. December 2017, right, is when Bitcoin had that spike, right? Then all the way through, it just kind of fell off. Well, what happened with the US dollar in that time? Sorry, the DXY. Same exact thing. Same exact thing until the dollar went back up. So, and we are sitting right at that spot right now, except for just Bitcoin's a lot higher. That's about the only difference. So, should we trust this? This Bitcoin, it's at 3,000 more than what it was. But we have to ask ourselves, sorry, I meant to do this. Just throw a little line on here that should give us, or actually I probably shouldn't do that. I should probably throw it's been a long day, guys. Hold on. And let's get this a little bit more seeable here. Dash line, let's throw a little bit thicker on. There we go. 19,600 and something like that. I think that's about where the top was, right? Come up there, it hits that top, it breaks the top, falls down below, and now we're breaking above. Alright, so now we're at the same kind of area with the DXY. Now we have to ask ourselves, sorry for here, let me just erase everything off of here, because I'm probably going to redo it again anyway. And I had an alert crossing because I wanted to see if it was going to jump back up after that, because I was going to put some monies in some GU and some EU, some selling of that actually. I think the dollar is going to bounce, and it is. It looks like in the 4 hour it is bounced. Let's go back to the 5 minute. I like looking at little charts like this, like the 5 minute. So it's definitely given itself a little bounce. Has it bounced up high enough to make some damage? No. No, it really hasn't. But I mean, what has done some damage has been some Bitcoin. I mean, geez, if you were an early investor in Bitcoin, and I remember I remember when Bitcoin was, I think, $4,000, and it was before that huge spike happened, whenever it got up to like 20,000 or something like that. And I sold at the top of it. I was like, it's never going to get any higher than this. Why not sell? You know, made a pretty penny. And to be honest, I'm glad I sold, because it went back down. The thing is that ever since it did go back down, I'm like, how can you ever trust anything like that ever again? You know, it's especially even most of this year, you know, it stayed around, or even last year. I want to say this year it had trouble getting above 10,000, something like that. Yeah, last year it did. But I want to say, yeah, this year, especially once it, you know, the whole COVID thing started, that was it. The whole COVID thing started, all the currencies dropped, right? All of them. Well, some of them had a weird spike, but, you know, for the most part, they all dropped, depending on which currency you're looking at. So you had the whole COVID situation, and then even Bitcoin dropped. Where were people, you know, if that's the case, and what were people doing with their money? People were taking it and storing it where? They were putting it in their own pockets? Were they putting it in their shoe boxes? You know, people were putting money in something, right? Weren't they? They had to have been. What was it? What was it they were putting their money in? It definitely wasn't, you know, Ethereum. Ethereum did the same thing, I want to say. I mean, look at Ethereum right now. Jesus. Why is it only going back to August? On a 4-hour chart. I'm in perpetual contracts, that's why. See, even Ethereum had a little dip. XRP has always been down there. But the conversation that was had earlier was that even though Bitcoin is at this massive price right now, right? And if you're an early investor in Bitcoin, even if you're buying into this pump, what's to say it can't fall at any moment? And that's what I just can't get behind. I mean, you know, maybe I'll put some money in it again if it drops below. And that's the thing, is that the market has to balance itself. So this is going to come back down. Anybody who sits there, I mean, not all the way back down. It's going to come down pretty far, though. I mean, and it may take a few months or something like that. But if you think that Bitcoin is just, you know, going to continually and keep going and keep going and keep going, you are wrong. You are just dead wrong. I mean, there has to be a steady rise for it to do that, because it has to continuously balance itself out. The market has to balance. If you've done any kind of studying about any kind of currencies or anything about the market, it has to balance. It just has to. It has to balance. So if you're looking at Bitcoin right now, like I am, you know, on the 4-hour chart, it hit its top, right? You're at 20, almost 24. What is it doing? It's rebalancing. It's already rebalancing. It's gonna come down to see. And I haven't have this little. Well, I put this here because that was the high for the high that it reached the last time it made its run, right? What you're probably gonna see. And this is what I thought it was going to happen last time I did this. Whenever it came up, came back down, and kind of did this, and then it just shot up. What you're going to see is you're probably going to maybe see one more spike I'm not gonna lie, especially with the dollar the way it's been. I mean, I do expect Bitcoin to probably get a lot higher, only because the dollar, right? So if we take a look at the dollar, we go to the 4 hour, and if you know anything about market maker sell model, let me do a quick review for anybody who does not know what the market maker buy sell model. If you do not know what it is, here's a general idea of what the market maker buy sell model. This is what the market does right here, right? Consolidates in one area, jumps up to another area, consolidates, jumps up to another area, consolidates, falls to a different area, consolidates, you know. And as you can see down here in the bottom, there is a inner circle trader. He is basically the original idea maker of this, I guess you could say, or at least the original observer of this. And you can find it in every market. You can find it in the Bitcoin market. You can find it in the Ethereum market. You can find it in the XRP market. I mean, you see right here. This is the Bitcoin market right here. Market maker buy sell model. You know, this was back when, what, 2014? This is what it does. It just shifts in between basically different market areas, and that's, you know, this person, I don't know if this became true or not, but evidently this is what somebody predicted. But you know, this is what the market does, and so and that's what's going to happen to Bitcoin. So if we take a look at the dollar, right? And we take a look at the dollar as, let's go to the daily. It's going to be the best way to view this. And we look at the market maker buy sell model, right? So you have that box of the market maker buy sell model right here, right? So here's one of those boxes that the market maker buy sell model had itself in, right? And then right here, you had another one, right? And then, you know, you had, I don't know, I guess you had a bunch of little boxes, I guess you could say. You'd have a box here, then you had a box here, you had a box here, and then here you have a box, there you have a box. And then the thing is about the boxes, they never, you know, they'll be in different spots. They never, you know, you can see this one does not equal this one, right? This one, yeah. So now what's happening is that this is going through this. Is what you're probably going to see, honestly, is you're probably going to see this one stop probably somewhere around here, right? That's probably where you're going to see it stop, somewhere around here. Make a market maker buy sell model, consolidate, go back up. Or it could, you know, it could consolidate and then go down even more. That's the honest to God truth. To be honest, what we're seeing right now, especially with the devaluation of the dollar, if I can, let me see if I can pull up this article. I think it was like 23% of all dollars printed. I think it was on Fred's. I have to pull up the exact statistics somewhere in here, but let me see if I can't find it. Basically, almost all dollars that were spent in 23% of all dollars spent were spent in. Geez, I don't even have it. it was like 22%. All dollars printed in 2020. I think this was, oh, this is the image. Okay. So as you can see, if you go back to 1985, you have a steady increase of dollars. You have a little tick up here in 2000 for some reason. But then you keep going, and then all of a sudden, almost all the dollars, 22% of all dollars that have been created have been in between, well, have been within this past year. So we have just been a printing press, and if that isn't a warning sign as to why the dollar is going down, then I don't know what to tell you. So what that tells me is that they're going to recognize this, and something has to happen with the economy soon. And we're going to go back to this dollar, and like I said, it's going to affect this market maker buy sell model here. It's going to, I don't know if it's going to reverse or if it's going to keep dropping, but it's going to be almost in direct relation to this Bitcoin, right? So, and I think that's what a lot of people aren't understanding, especially about Bitcoin, is that the last time we had one of these jumps was also the last time we had a fall in the dollar, right? The only thing that's different is that the dollar was worse. Well, I mean, it's actually probably about the same, to be honest. But the dollar did fall to, quite a bit lower, and not too much lower. I mean, we got to what, 88.4. Right now it's at 89.6. We're not too far off. But I think the dollar is going to have one of these things where it is going to, it could get down to about 86, something like that. We could pull it down to here. Maybe we could see it bounce around in here. And then hopefully we see it come back up. With politics, I'm not going to say what I want to say, but I don't trust the new administration to do anything great about it. But with that being said, you got to be careful with Bitcoin, especially if anything, average down cost. Hopefully you're buying down here. If you're thinking about buying Bitcoin right now, don't hold off, and then just wait, because this is a facade, in my opinion. Who knows? I may eat my words. Somebody's gonna, who knows? I may be one of those famous economists in a couple years, and somebody's gonna find this video and they're gonna make me eat my words. And if they are gonna make me eat words, and then I'll eat them. But as of right now, I do not see any trustworthiness in Bitcoin when I look at it compared to what happened to the dollar at the same exact time. Whatever that means is whatever that means. I'm not going to draw trend lines. I'm not going to draw channels. That's not what I do. I look at price action, and I look at to see what could possibly happen. Now, the thing here is that we do have, okay, so we had this spike. So let's take a look at Bitcoin, and let's see what can possibly happen right now. All right, especially with price action. You do have this spike up here, right? It's at 23,777. What an odd number. And then the next highest spike we have is at 23,730. So it's very, very close together. So the algorithm, yes, there is an algorithm. Everybody thinks that Bitcoin is just this open asset, and that however much you can't manipulate it. I hate to tell you, it's already manipulated. I mean, it has a value to a degree of what people have put into it, but its value is mainly based on trust. Its value is based on how quickly you can send people money, it's not going to be seen as a stock. You shouldn't look at it as a stock, because like I said, just look at what happened again a couple years ago, to where it just completely obliterated and fell. I mean, it's going to have massive use, of course, but it's not going to have this kind of, stock that you see. Okay, so now what also do we see? All right, so I'm looking at the 15-minute chart, right? I look for major displacements, right? So what I mean by major displacements is something like this. This is a major displacement, right? So it comes up, comes right back down. This is a major displacement. Comes right back almost up to it, right? It probably hits if we want to get really down to the nit grit of it, it probably hits a small little order block. All right, so I really want to zoom in on this and find out. There it is, 23730. That's exactly right. The point is before. $23,730. I'm in the 1 minute. So it's just, so it basically, it hits the tip of the body. So where the little wick is where the last, basically the last of it started. So let me throw another one of these things in right here. 23728. So it got just above the last, but the last wick up here got just above the last body. All right, and let's see where it's at now. Let's pull it down a little bit. All right, and it's just a consolidation. So we are in consolidation mode. What I'm gonna say is, since it is close, what this usually does, especially when you're talking about smart money, an algorithm sees this as what, right? It sees this as people that have buy stops set above this. They say as soon as it cracks this, what's it gonna do? It's gonna turn around down and test it, and then go ahead and go back up, right? So people already have their long positions set, right? These people have their long positions set. Well, if it would do what I wanted it to do, I'm gonna have to redo this, and I'm gonna have to take off this. So here we go. All right, people have their long positions set. Let's say they know it's going to go to 24.5, right? And so they have a short stop loss because they think it's and this is if we're trading CFDs, or even if, I don't know, even if you're trading however you trade, let's just say this is what's going to happen, right, with Bitcoin. This is how smart money sees it, right? Smart money sees it as, okay, there's a huge liquidity pool sitting right here, right? Liquidity pool, right? So there's a lot of money sitting right up here, because as soon as it gets above this, it's gonna take off, right? That's how everybody sees it. That's how everybody is looking at this. They say as soon as it takes off, boom, it's gonna come above this, gonna retest, and then there you go. It's gonna take off again. What smart money usually does, and what it probably did with this too, the last little jog, right? And it kind of did do that. Took off, came back down, right? But it came back up, right? So now let me draw a little path here. This time what you're probably going to see is something like this. Come up, come back down just a little bit. It's going to come back down just a little bit, just enough to take those people out. Come back up to give you another glimpse of hope. And then boom, going to drop after that. Right? And I'm just going to draw you a little Fibonacci here and show you exactly how it's going to work. Just because I've drawn these so many times, I know exactly. Look at that. It's usually going to come back to about that 75%, 80%, something like that. Somewhere right in there, and then it's just going to drop. Why? Because that's the discount. Right? So you already had it at a high rate, right? You bought it, you sold it, right? You bought it up again, you drove it up again, and then you sell it again at a very high rate. Not as high as what you wanted it to be, but at a high enough rate to where you faked enough people out to buy into it that you sold it, and you sold off enough that you're going to just take everybody out, right? Or take anybody who's trading a CFD out. Anybody that is buying in these areas right now are just going to start losing their money, right? Because you have invested into something that is eventually going to go down. I mean, I hate to be that kind of person that is a Debbie Downer and just doesn't believe that Bitcoin is the end-all be-all, that Bitcoin is this thing that is just going to, continuously grow forever. It's just, it's not. I mean, it might, but it's not one of those things right now to be trusted in. Why? Because there's a lot of economic things happening, and I know the whole Great Reset thing, is going on and whatnot, and I don't. Who knows what's going on? But what I do know is, just be careful. Just be careful when it comes to Bitcoin, right? It's just something that I do not trust. Now, the one cool thing I do like about Ethereum, right? I know if there's one coin I would put some money in, and I do own some, is Ethereum. For one, it's the coin that powers the dApps, right? Without Bitcoin, you wouldn't have, or not Bitcoin, sorry, without Ethereum, you wouldn't have the digital apps that basically power all the cryptocurrencies that are out there. So, if you think about, if you think of Bitcoin as the gold of digital currency, Ethereum is the oil, right? So Ethereum is going to be the one that is definitely going to outlast Bitcoin, in my opinion. Now, the thing also with Bitcoin is that people can just, I wouldn't say people, but transactions can be, they're all on a ledger. That the government can see where you spent your money, where you sent your money, who you sent it to, and they're trying all these different regulations, and maybe that's why it's getting such a huge bump that it is. But with that kind of transparency, it's also not good, because then you got people who are looking into your Bitcoin accounts and going, well, what did you do here? Why'd you do this? Or why'd you do that? It doesn't give you the freedom that you need it to have. We need a different coin that's going to give you that privacy. And from my understanding is that you do have things that do give you that privacy, like Zcash. And Dash. I think these are the two that do give you, that kind of hide your privacy, especially with the way you send your money and invest. So if it was they're also a lot lower prices than Bitcoin right now. So that's why I think Bitcoin is just a fad. Not a fad, but it's going to be something that's I wouldn't say fizzle out, but it's not going to be as big as everybody thinks it is. I was on TradingView today and looking at people. If you go into these chat rooms and you go into the cryptocurrency, you look at all these people top. I mean, this is all they're talking about is Bitcoin. And you got these people trying to sell them crap about Bitcoin's going here and Bitcoin's going there, and let's see what this. See, oh no, he's got KuCoin. Sorry, hold on. No, he's got a. Okay, so his prediction is that Bitcoin's going into a triangle. So this is crap I don't believe either. I don't believe in triangles. I don't, market geometry, none of that crap. There's levels, and that's it. All right, guys. Sorry, that's all there is. There's price levels, and when price hits certain levels, and it hits different prices, it has reactions to those prices. There's nothing to do with waves or triangles or anything like that. And that's just proven. And balance, right? So there's balance as well. So, and that's another thing you have to watch for. See, balance, I can easily see it right here in Dash. You see it goes down, then you have this rebalanced, then it comes down, rebalances, comes up, rebalances. Even if it goes back up, it'll have to rebalance. And then if it keeps going up, it'll have to rebalance, and it may go down and then rebalance, and it's just and that's part of the market maker buy sell model, right? That's part of what this is. This is the rebalancing, but it's also the part of it also finding different areas and where it's going to buy and sell to. So with that being said, I want to take a look at the dollar, right? And we see within the market maker sell model, right, we are in these kind of areas where it's just plowing through, this area that was once, you would think it would actually kind of stop and, what's the word I'm looking for, consolidate. It would definitely probably try to consolidate, and it might, who knows, this might be the point. I've actually put a stopping point. Well, this is actually, that's actually an alert. I probably want to get rid of that. But let's throw, what's on the right? Let's throw this on here. And let's see if we can't get it on the bottom. So there we go. Close enough. All right, so maybe we did hit a bottom here, right? It's about halfway through, which that one makes sense. And actually, I do want to, let's do a fib. Let's do a fib from the top of here. Because generally, especially when you do something like this, when you do an order block, throw a fib on it, find the 50% mark. Let's throw a line through that. Did it work? Where'd the line go? Oh, here. Let me throw it off this. It probably threw it somewhere else because I did do that. All right. So 50% mark. Boom. It's right at the 50% mark. Okay, so this is actually perfect timing. So, I mean, it is less than, what is that, 20? Less than 0.2, or was that, yeah. So we're at 89.605 to 89.58. Well, actually, this did not. All right, so still, was that 15? 15, I guess you could say, cents or whatever. I really don't know how you price out the dollar, but anyways, there is a 0.15 difference basically in between here and here, and this is the halfway point. And rule of thumb is, as long as it doesn't get through the halfway point, more than likely it's not going to trade through it. So what we could be looking at is we could be looking at a market maker buy sell model of something that starts right here, right, and goes this way. Maybe it doesn't get down here. Maybe we've seen the top of Bitcoin already. Maybe we've, now you see this happen. Maybe you do see a little bit go out, it does this, goes here. And you see this go on for about 4 months, just like the other one. Because the other one was what, January? We're in December now. Almost January. About the exact same time as it was 3 years ago. 2 years ago, whatever. And then finally, the vaccine takes hold and we finally get our economy back to normal. Boom. Dollar goes back up. What do you think is going to happen to Bitcoin? You think Bitcoin's going to have that same $25,000, $23,000 valuation? You really think it's going to have that kind of hold if the dollar goes back up? These are questions you gotta have to ask yourself. You can't just see money going up and up and up and think it's gonna continue going up forever. So, that being said, let's look at the euro. Right? Why not? Let's look at the euro. It is right now 11:22 p.m. Central Time. I am Central Time. No, I am not in Chicago. No, I'm not in New Orleans. I am somewhere in the middle of nowhere where I like to be. I am somewhere where I can have things I'm not going to say on YouTube because I could probably get banned if I said it. But anyways, the euro's been taken off, right? Just because the dollar's been going down. So, same thing with the pound, right? Pound has been acting weird. Why am I on the 1 minute? I have no idea. But as you can see, and this made me so mad when I called this last night, and not last night, 2 nights ago. It didn't work out. But as you can see, I have lines all over my charts. And the reason I have lines all over my charts is because I don't do trend lines. I don't do channels. That stuff is for the birds. That stuff is just made up. It does not work. So instead, what I do is I find a big displacement, right? And actually, probably the biggest displacement in this one would be right there. I don't know what this line is here either, but here we go. We have a fib. You have a displacement. As you can see, it's come back down to about the 618, right? I wouldn't be surprised if it falls down a little bit further, especially since we also see another displacement right in here. If we get down to the 15-minute nit grid of it, right, boom, here's the big displacement, but then you also have another displacement right here where it kind of goes up and then boom, it takes off, right? So right here is your second displacement. So if we actually wanted to go to this displacement right here, we're actually about at the 80% level. So we could be at a good level to where it's rebalanced. What I mean by rebalanced is that it has come to a level that, it may not come all the way back down to this, level right here where everybody thinks is support, and air quote support, because support changes all the time. But it is at a level, I'm going to get rid of that because that's making me mad because I missed that by half a pip. But it is at a level to where we could start seeing it go back up. But that's also going to depend on the dollar. Like I said, why am I looking at gold? That is all going to depend on this bad boy right here, right? So if we get down, we look at the 15-minute, and this is what I noticed especially whenever the when whenever the day was ended of trading, right? And we had middle of the day, the whole middle of the day, it just kind of hovered and hugged this line, which is interesting because it's almost right at the middle of that the order block, the whole order block from the previous years. And I may have to even get closer and find out if that's even, this may be the exact middle of the order block. It's just how precise smart money is. But we're starting to see it go up, and we're starting to see it rebalance. So if we're going to see a rebalance, I wouldn't be surprised to see it especially since it's the end of the week. Since it's the end of the week, generally what you'll see. Where was the beginning of the week? What day was it? Right here? Yeah, it was right here. So this is the beginning of the week right here. And what's interesting is that usually what you'll see is at the beginning of the week, especially if it ends on a low, you'll usually see it come up first and then go down and then come back up. And then you usually have about a 30-30-30 kind of percent split of how the price is. About it usually goes about 30% up, and then comes all the way down the full 100%, and then comes back up about 30. So then you have about a 10% kind of range of what happened in between the week prior to and then this week. I don't even know if that happened this week or not. This past week was all consolidation, wasn't it? Let me see if I can't do like a proof of that from this previous week. So it starts around here. Yeah, see, well, it kind of goes down and jumps up, right? And then does this, does this. So I guess you could say it starts here. It went down first, but in between here and here, you did probably have, between your 100% of what happened, you did probably have about a 10% split of that open and that close. So generally that's kind of the idea of what usually happens within a week. But generally there's more movement than that, so that way that 10% is a lot wider. So this is kind of a bad example because that 10% is a little bit lower. So if that same thing were to happen and you did see that 10% split, and this is the entire 100%, this is going to back up way up here, so which that's possible if you're looking at something like this, and the opening here and this being your 10% split of this, balancing out, you could see a massive rally of the dollar, tomorrow, just because that's the way price balances, and if that's going to happen, guess what's going to happen to Bitcoin? Boop. Same thing. Guess what's going to happen to gold? Boop. Same thing. It's probably going to rally down tomorrow as well. It's getting about that time. It's getting close to time to where we're going to see what's really going to happen, because the euro probably within 30 minutes is probably going to show its true colors as to what's going to happen, if the dollar is going to take off, and we're going to see the euro start falling to end this week on a lower note, which I think it will, and then the hour after that, oops, let me make sure that didn't screw anything up on my screen here. I'm gonna have to wait a second because I do have like a 10% or 10 second lag. But what I did is I moved Yeah, okay, it's good. I moved a label, or not a label, a tab off my screen. So, um, but the thing is that with this rebalancing is that what I'm anticipating with this rebalance is another buy. That's what I'm anticipating. So if I'm going to anticipate a sell, what I should be looking at instead, right? I should be flipping this Fibonacci around, right? Right. So if we do flip this Fibonacci around and we say, all right, what we're going to see probably is some kind of buying point and then a sell-off, right? And oddly enough, that 70.1% comes right at about a rebalancing point. So if GBP were to just sit and consolidate for a second, come back up and hit the 70.5%, it would hit this level right here, which would be a good resistance level, right? Also, you see this right here. Didn't mean to do that. I'm going to draw your attention to didn't mean to do that. This green candle right here, that right there is a very good yeah, and it happened. It came up and right into it. So this is a very good what's the word I'm looking for? Order block. This is a good order block candle. And usually what happens when, especially you have an order block goes up and then you have a big move down, right? Whenever it comes back up into this order block, it sells off. Well, it actually bought through the order block, but once it dropped back down below it and came back up and touched it, then it dropped off again. You're gonna have, and that's the thing with smart money, is the algorithm remembers these levels, right? It cuts through candles. It's not like it doesn't remember the candle, or it forgets all about the candle. Now what sometimes happens is, what happened, especially what happened with this, is that since there was this huge drop, this technically causes like a gap, right? This causes a big gap in price. So that gap has to, again, rebalancing, right? That gap has to be filled. So what happens is it comes up, refills that gap, rebalance, now it moves back down, right? And it looks like this could go down here. And so, just look how closely that aligned is, right? So, and it's probably right behind my head, so you can't see it very well. But if I'm gonna guess anything, and especially the way GBP moves, you could see this pull up, and hit this price exactly. It's almost right at that 70.5%. Or what I would expect it to do would probably actually be maybe, sometimes this is how the algorithm works. If we really wanted to take a wild bet on it, you could see it pull down to here, right, before it turns back around. And if we draw a line directly across from there, look what it hits. Hits another displacement candle. Hit the candle that, as soon as it hit, a red candle that drops all of a sudden. So this is actually another order block. Why is it another order block? Because it's just like one of these. It comes up, boom, goes back down, except for it's just the opposite direction. This one comes up, boom, goes back down. So this could come down here, hit this order block, come back up, hit the 75%, and then sell off. That's the way I'm looking at it. That's the way I see things right now, especially in the GBP USD realm. That's what I would call They're probably not going to have it. Well, December 18th, was that tomorrow? And then let me get rid of those. And then maybe even further down, who knows? You might actually see it hit. See, what I try to look for is confluences, because if you've never set up if you don't know how to set up a fib, and this is how you set it up, right? You have your regular one, you have 79%, your 70.5%, your 61.8, 62 usually works too. That way you get a little buffer in case like you want to put a trade in. You have a little bit of room for your spread, and in between that zone, that 61.8 and that 79. That is your golden zone. That's your zone that you want to look for to buy or sell, whichever direction you have your fib. And then your extensions are your 127, your 162, and then that's it. And then your double, right? And then the same thing, 227, 222, 600, right? So what you want to look for, especially since they're going to be looking for this, is, let me get rid of some of this of what I just drew on here, spread it out here. Let's look for the day, right? So what has happened? What do you want to look for? Is you want to look for it to break this daily low. That's what price likes to do. Price likes to break lows. So it's just past the 100, and that's me doing this fake now now if I actually go to where the price is right now, right, and if it were to turn around and go back up and it comes down and it hits that 127%, guess where that's at? That is exactly at the daily low. It's exactly at the daily low. You can't get any clearer than that. You can't get any clearer than that when it comes to smart money. So I'm gonna guess it's already hit its low, for the night. It is gonna retrace, and then it's gonna sell, and it's gonna break that daily low. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here, folks. All right, so I mean, to me, that's just clear as day. I know. There's a ton of lines on my chart, but that's because levels mean everything, and I know what all these levels mean, so don't worry. But if we're just gonna go with simplicity, and we want to take a lot of these lines off of here and go back to what I was just showing you. Like I said, what we're looking for is now our daily bias. We've hit our high for the week, right? We want to go. We think we're going to go down lower. More than likely, what we're going to do is we're going to break the low, right? So if we get down to, let's get down to a 15-minute candle. That daily low I've already got marked out as right here, right? So this is the previous day's low, and it would look right at 4 o'clock. So it was right at the beginning of the day yesterday, and that was actually at that displacement, right? So I could probably get rid of this. Well, actually, probably what could happen is it could come down, hit this displacement, come back up, and then shoot down and hit this daily low. But if we're looking at, the daily low from yesterday to the daily high, what you're looking at is probably the GBP pulling back up somewhere into the golden zone, is the way I like to call it, or what other people call it, the smart money people call it. So you're going to see it pull somewhere up in this area between the 62 and the 80%, right? And then sell off, and then it's going to break the yesterday's low, right? And I'm not even at yesterday's low, am I? I'm at the current low. So and yesterday's low is at the exact extension of 127%, to the T. I want to say. Let me pull this down. Let me make sure I have the extensions correct here. And so this is 1.34917. Make sure I have this pulled down to the correct T coordinates. 1.34919. It is literally 8 pipettes off, right? So I think we have seen the low already of GBP. It's going to pull up, right? And it's probably going to pull up during London session. Right, you're going to see more of the, you're going to see your price. And that's the thing with the dollar, is that it'll barely just go down, but you know, it's one way or the other. Sometimes the dollar will barely go down, and then you know the GBP will fly up, and then the dollar will barely go up, and the GBP will fly down, or it's the opposite. It'll barely move up, and the GBP goes the other way. It's crazy. I really have no idea. But to be honest, this is what I'm staring at. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm thinking is going to happen within the next 24 hours. Maybe. No, well, actually not 24 hours, because we don't have 24 hours left in the trading day. But this is, I mean, look at what happened from, 4 o'clock until now. You had a lot going on. So yeah, definitely, this could happen. I definitely think it's going to break tomorrow's low. We're already on a sell bias, but I don't think it's for the banksters, right? The banksters that already got their money in this. It's got to pull back up to a certain point for them to make better money off of, and it's got to pull back up to here. So to pull it back up to here, sell, it'll break this low. That's what I'm calling. Euro USD, these are the two I look at all the time. I think we're probably going to see something similar. Let's look at the daily chart. And for those of you who were watching and are watching now, and you came on here because you saw Bitcoin, I already rambled about Bitcoin, so whenever this does a playback, you'll get to hear me ramble about Bitcoin. So here we go. Here is let me go ahead and get rid of this. So you look at all these daily highs and daily lows I already had, because it was right around here. I was probably drawing them, going, okay, which one is it going to break? Is it going to break the daily high, or is it going to break the daily low? And so it kind of did both for a while, and then all of a sudden it shot up whenever the dollar just decided to crap on us. So now we are looking at possibly having a sell bias on for the day. We're looking at having a sell bias on for the day, then, which I don't know, because sometimes the euro and the British pound act opposite of each other. It's really, really odd. The euro is more in line to act along with the dollar than the pound is, that's for sure. Why am I on the 5? Let's go to the 15. This happened at 1 o'clock yesterday, and that was annoying because I was in a buy setup and it just took me out because it was rebalancing perfectly, and then we had the FOMC thing happen and it just took me out completely. So that was the current high whenever I drew this the other day. So if we were looking at this as being the daily low and this being what's going to take it out, let's see if we can't do the same kind of thing that we did. Draw a fib. All right, let's go from the top to the bottom, and let's see if there's any kind of significant point to where if it pulls back up, if it's going to be somewhere. Yeah, well, you kind of have that same thing. right? You have that same point. You have the high, the low, and then the high. So this would be your breaker, right?